Hey, what's up? Today we're going to be doing an oil change on a 2006 Mercedes C280. This is the 3.0 engine, the M272 engine. And the only thing that might be a little bit different about that is that we're going to be doing the oil change with the Mityvac MV7400, which is a fluid extractor. It's a little bit nicer than having to jack up the car and get underneath it with the drain the oil out through the bottom. So I'm going to walk you through the steps here. Okay, so in order to do the oil change, we're going to be doing the fluid extraction through the dipstick tube. So really all we need to take off here is the front of this engine cover. And you can lift up the front of this. There's a couple of rubber plugs in the front that lift up here. And then there's two clips on each side. And you can lift that straight up and that pulls right off. And as you can see underneath here we have the oil filter housing, which we're going to remove with the oil filter cap wrench. Okay, so we just need to pull the dipstick out, set that aside. Then we're going to take the medium-sized tube. The extractor comes with 3 different sizes. We're going to feed that down into the dipstick till it reaches the end. And now you can feel it when it reaches the end, and we just need to start pumping the extractor. Now you can see the fluid starting to come out right here. We probably want to give that about 10 pumps. And then just let it sit. It'll drain for a while, and then every few minutes you're going to have to pump it again until you can hear the bubbles coming when it reaches the bottom and there's no more fluid left in the system. So that may take about 10 minutes or so. You don't have to jack up the car, but it makes it a little bit nicer, a little bit cleaner when you're doing an oil change. Alright, so for the oil change we're going to be using about 8 quarts of the Mobil 0W203. We have the Mann oil filter, and these are the rubber gaskets that come with it. We're also going to have a wrench to get the oil filter housing off, and a funnel for draining the oil later. But this is the number 903. I think this is the right size, like 75 millimeter wrench to get the oil filter cap off. And this uses the half-inch drive socket, so you make sure if you're going to get this, you actually have one of the half-inch drive socket wrenches to use with it. Alright, so while that's the oil's draining, we're going to go ahead and start loosening the oil filter cap housing. I'm not going to remove it all right now, all the way until the oil's out of the system. So almost all the oil is out of the car now. So I'm going to go ahead and take the oil filter the rest of the way out. It's a bit of a messy job, so make sure you have some rags and paper towels handy. And as you can see here, this is the old oil filter. We're going to take this off. And these 3 red O-rings here are going to be replaced. Those come with they'll come with the new oil filter, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, so this is the old oil filter. We're going to go ahead and take this out. You want to wear some rubber gloves or something. Pull that out, and you can discard the old oil filter. And the next thing you need to do is replace the rings that are on here. So that's why I have the small screwdriver. Go ahead and pull those 3 old rings off. And if you can kind of hook them, pull those 3 out. They may be red or black depending on the brand of oil filter that you have. Okay, so those are the 3 old ones. The new one comes with a set of O-rings. I'm going to be using these 3 O-rings here. And these other 2 black ones that you can see here are just unused. Those are just for different applications, but we're not going to be using those two. So really just these three. So you can go ahead and put the new O-ring on here. And make sure it's in the correct slot here. You can see it's at the very bottom. Okay, now that we have the large O-ring on, the next step is we want to put the oil filter, the new oil filter on. I'm going to slide that all the way on. And then go ahead and put the smaller O-rings on. You might need to use the screwdriver to hook them on and put them in place. And make sure that they're in the same two spots. You want to be careful, but put these here and here. Alright, and then the other thing you want to do before you put these on, make sure they're lubricated with some new oil before you slide that in. And the same with this ring here, so that it's not dry when you try to screw it back into the car. Alright, so we're going to take the new oil filter that we have and put it back in here. You can screw it down by hand most of the way, and then you want to snug it in with the oil wrench. Now the spec on this I think is 25 Newton meters. It says right on the top here. So you don't want to over tighten it, but you'll feel the threads when you go in gently. You can watch the seam here to make sure it's all the way down. And that'll snug in. Alright, so you can hear that probably hear the sound that the air is coming through the tube. That means it's all the oil's out of the car now. So I'm going to go ahead and take that out and put the dipstick back in the car. Alright, so as you can see, the Mityvac is full of oil now. It's extracted all the oil out of the car. Now I have a couple of empty oil jugs and a funnel that I just use to pour it out. You can see there's a pour spout on top of the Mityvac. Just pour that into the empty oil jugs. But now the really important thing to stress here is that you cannot leave any oil sitting in the Mityvac. It will ruin the pump. It will seep in through the threads on the bottom of the pump, and it'll spurt oil all over the place next time you try to pump it. And so you'll either need to end up fixing it or replacing your pump. It did happen to me. I was able to fix the pump with some silicone, but it is kind of a messy job to fix it and clean it out. So make sure you don't leave oil sitting in there. Make sure you pour it all out. Alright, so the last step really, now we've got all the oil out of the car. We put the oil filter in. We just need to refill it with oil. So, oil filter cap, I'm sorry, the oil filler cap there. And it's going to take about 8 quarts of the oil. So, just going to go ahead and fill that up. We're using a funnel, so you want to get all that in there. Alright, so I put one jug in. I'm going to start the second jug. Usually what I do is put about 7.5 quarts based on the measuring on the side here, and then I'll start checking the dipstick to make sure it's up to the full level. Okay, so that put about 8 quarts in there, and to check it, it's a little bit hard to see on these. You really need to dry it off before you check it. You can, kind of have to look to see, make sure it's wet with the oil, because the oil's pretty clean, so it doesn't show up on there very well. But it is full all the way up, so that's really the last step. Just make sure you put your filler cap back on. Make sure that's tight. And start your engine, run it a little bit, double check the oil level, make sure it still looks good. And the last step is just to put the engine cover back on. You see the 2 prongs here in the front, and there's 2 clips in the back here, they go on. So you want to put those in first. And you can hear them click down. And then these you can't really hear, but you can feel them kind of push into place. And that's it.